Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to Joe Stunner Boxing. Excuse me. Hope you've had a good weekend. Mine's been okay. Lazy weekend, really. Nothing special about it, but I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Yeah, I wanted to do a quick video on the subject of Amir Khan because it's always intrigued me the amount of hate this guy gets, and I know that he can come across as being a bit of a twat. But to me, there are worse things in life. He don't seem like a bad lad, Amir. He seems to talk a lot of twaddle sometimes, but like I say, it's not exactly like he's, harming anyone. He just talks a bit of rubbish sometimes. But some of the heat he gets, non-alcoholic ginger beer. Oh, no, it is alcoholic. Ginger beer, alcoholic, 4%. Got to indulge occasionally, haven't you? Yeah, so you don't seem like a bad lad, Amir Khan, and some of the criticism he gets, I think, is completely disproportionate, even if you think he's a knob. Look, he's got a bad chin, and his ring IQ isn't particularly high. He's always had the speed. I think it's diminished now. Certainly, if the evidence of the Terence Crawford fight back in 2019 is anything to go by. I mean, speed can be timed, and Crawford has a great deal of skill when it comes to timing and nullifying people's speed and other strengths. But he looked to me kind of sluggish in that fight. And I know we're going back 2 years, but I don't imagine it's improved or he's regained any of that missing speed through basically 2 years of inactivity, or 2.5 years of inactivity. But he was always very fast, and that speed always gave people problems. And he didn't have a particularly high ring IQ. He was very frenetic, threw lots of punches at any time, didn't really seem to pick his spots, could be timed, as we saw in the past, and always had a bad chin. But he also had a lot of heart, and he's also shown himself to be in the past a real warrior. And I think the heat that he gets, this joke about him having a glass jaw and, all sorts of memes of him being knocked out, I think is, to a large extent unfair. Because if you look at his career, the warning signs were there from quite early on. Willie Limond had him on the floor in a Commonwealth title fight back in 2007, which is nice. Nearly 15 years ago now. And was he on the floor against Michael Gomez? I can't remember. I don't know. He might not have been. But then, of course, Brady's Prescott chinned him inside a minute, and he's got a bad chin. But he came back brilliantly after that massive setback, and he won titles at light welterweight. He beat Kotolnik. He did Demetrius Saleta in a round. He beat Malignaggi, stopped Malignaggi. Malignaggi himself, very, very fast, but said afterwards, the one big advantage I usually had over people, I didn't have over Amir Khan, because Khan was even faster. And he had that incredible war with Marcus Maidana, where he floored Maidana in the opening round with a body punch. I mean, that's a terrific win, bearing in mind what Maidana came back to do against Broner, and he gave Mayweather a couple of tough tussles. And, Zab Judah got stopped in 5. I know Judah was on the downside of his career, but that's still a pretty good win. He lost to Lamont Peterson. Could have gone either way. Bit controversial, that decision. Then he got chinned by Danny Garcia. Again, he was throwing punches like they were going out of fashion. Garcia couldn't match the speed, but he timed him perfectly and chinned him with the left hook. Bad defeat for Khan. Again, he was on the floor against people like Carlos Molina. I think, was it Molina? But he holds wins over Collazo, Julio Diaz, Devin Alexander, he beat on points. Chris Algieri, he beat him on points. These are, decent wins. They're not bad wins at all. This is a pretty good resume that Khan is putting together. Then he gets in with Alvarez. Now, he's jumping up. This guy started off as a super featherweight. I mean, okay, so did Alvarez, but then Alvarez was 15. Khan is a much naturally smaller man. He gets in with Canelo. He gets chinned in 6. But he was doing okay in that fight. Yeah, Canelo had the far greater ring intelligence, was beginning to find the range, was beginning to find the timing, and the writing was a little bit on the wall. But nevertheless, the idea that Khan jumped up 2 weight classes to face Canelo and took on this guy who at the time, I mean, this was a few years ago. When was this? This was something like 2016, was it? 2015, 2016. Even so, to take on Canelo, that's... do you want your fighters to avoid people, or do you want them to take on the best possible opponents? You can't knock Khan for doing that. And yeah, he got chinned. But again, he's daring to be great, which was good. The mistake he made in his career for me, Amir Khan, is spending so much time chasing Mayweather and Pacquiao. He wanted one of those fights, or both of them. He didn't get either of them. He was supposed to fight Mayweather. Mayweather chose Maidana instead, who Khan had already beaten. But really, you should carve out your own niche. You should carve out your own career and not sort of follow other people around. There's a criticism that he didn't fight Brook. They're about to fight, of course. They're both way, way past their best. If I had to pick a winner in that fight, I would go for Brook, but I could be wrong. Again, they're both way, way past their best. It might be an entertaining fight, but it's not really a legacy fight, not anymore. They're both damaged goods. And so now he's looking for one more payday, but don't forget, he took on, after the Saul Alvarez knockout, he took on Terence Crawford. Again, he's not ducking anyone. He's trying to be the best he can possibly be. He's trying to fight great guys. I thought Khan looked woeful against Crawford, but it wasn't just the fact that Crawford is so brilliant. It's that Khan just looked to me like he was, I won't say shot, but greatly diminished. Let's put it that way. And whereas Brook, in the first 3 rounds against Terence Crawford, looked decent. He looked pretty good. He was actually winning. I gave him, I think, 2 of those first 3 rounds. But he was looking all right, and then suddenly he got nailed. But anyway, Amir Khan, do you think he gets too much heat? I do. I think people allow their sort of dislike of him maybe as a person, or the fact that he does talk a bit of nonsense sometimes, to get in the way of him as a fighter. I think he's shown a lot of guts. I think he's got a very good resume, and he's beaten a lot of good men. And as a light welterweight, I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think he maximised his talent, did a lot of good things in the ring, and deserves a bit more respect than he gets. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. If you're new to the channel and you could hit that subscribe button, jab it, I'll be very grateful. I hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, hit the like button, and I'll see you again sometime. Here's to the week ahead. Hopefully it's not too arduous, but take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye for now.